If you like to talk about the hypocrisy of Jehovah's Witnesses and Watchtower, this is the place for you. Please subscribe and turn on notifications, and with that being said, let's get started. Alright guys, so I just want to make this video. I want you guys to understand that I listened to your comments, and I want to show you guys some stuff that I should have said in the previous video, but I did not because I just came across this. It was just kind of emergency make. So this one is going to talk a little bit more in depth about why this is a problem. There are certain comments and stuff that from the previous video that we're going to look at. I'm not going to show the people's names, but we're going to talk about their ideas and their thoughts. And I want to show you guys that I want you to sit down before you freak out and get upset. I want you to understand the reason why I'm saying this is they are absolutely wrong. They don't know what they're doing, and they don't know what they're saying. And I'm going to show you that the reason why this is so upsetting to me is I know why they said what they said, okay? I know where they learned it, I know who taught it, and I know what group pushes it. They don't. They don't know what they're saying, and they don't know where it's coming from. The people or the individuals they're looking up to for spiritual guidance are Frankists, and they don't know it, and they don't understand they're being taught Frankist belief systems, and they're regurgitating that. That's the best case scenario. The other scenario is they do know what they're doing, they do know what they're saying, and that we have a problem. So those are the only two options you have. Okay, so here's a statement. Bo, they did not say that. They are continuously retrailing their abuse, reinforces the victim mentality. Okay, so that's what the idea is that when you talk about what had happened to you, you're reinforcing it and you're becoming a victim. It's not good for you. That's not how you heal. That's the whole argument. Now, guys, when you see stuff like this and you hear stuff like this, it doesn't sound right. It's very cult-like, and it's very, very disturbing. So this is not something that therapists are teaching. This is something that you're going to get maybe in a self-help group or another cult is going to say something like this, and it's not accurate. When you have a traumatic event that takes place, it is actually taught to you that you have to deal with the traumatic event in order to get over the traumatic event. This is how it's been. This is how it is. And I do understand that there are certain groups within modern politics that are trying to change that, because the Frankist agenda and Communist Manifesto is very, very powerful and very important in today's politics. So let's just stop for a second and let's use some common sense, okay? Let's take your ideology and let's look at it and let's use it and let's experiment with it. Let's do a psychological experiment. You get robbed. You know who the person is that robbed you. You go and report the person who robbed you to the police. The police come and arrest them. You testify against them. They get arrested. Now you can tell people, I got robbed by so-and-so. Now let's take your narrative. Let's do what you want to do, and let's see how that helps the person and helps everyone else and helps you heal. That person robs you. You know who they are. You go to the police, and the police tell you, well, we don't want to hear it. Don't tell us about it. It's not going to help you. The best thing to deal with it is act like it didn't happen and don't talk about it and become the best person that you can. So now, robber A goes and robs person B, C, D. And you don't tell anyone about it. And so nobody knows that person A is robbing everyone. And everyone's being quiet about it. Do you think that that scenario is beneficial to the people who got robbed or beneficial to the person who's robbing the individuals? Now, I know it's not the same thing, but this is the same logic you guys are using. When you use wrong logic and you compare it and you narratize and you break it down and you look at it and you see that it doesn't work in real life, then it's obviously not the guru brilliant thing that you're being taught. It's probably coming from another high control group cult member. I'm just being honest with you. Okay, so somebody pointed this out to me and they said, this reminds me of someone who just got back from a Tony Robinson retreat. Just believing something doesn't make it real or makes a magical manifest. Having mentors still means you are not in control of yourself. Okay, so what this person said, I really like it, because basically what they're telling you is, these people are in a cult. Then they leave it and go to another cult. That cult tells them something they like to hear, and then all of a sudden they're going around and telling everybody what this other cultist is telling them, and that it's now the new magic pill. It's not. It's foolish, and what they said is absolutely not correct. And I'm going to show you right now why this is not correct, okay? Now, this video I'm going to show you is really disturbing, but I think it's real important you guys pay attention and you understand what these people are telling you and what they're doing and how destructive it actually is to the victims and how inappropriate it actually is.
You that you're just another adult that's going to let them down, to having them come running outside and just to watch them bloom.
BACA members undergo months of specialized training so they can help kids face their abusers here in the courtroom.
I don't really focus on what's being said in the trial. I try to send all my positive energy to the child so that they can do what they have to do on the stand, and I'm strictly there for them and nothing else.
It's a sense of security and support that one Billings mother says may have saved her child's life.
My daughter was raped by somebody that we cared about and trusted.
She says her daughter began cutting herself in an effort to cope. But after she found a BACA flyer and reached out,
I was contacted the next day by a lady named Sippy.
everything changed.
My girls had nightmares for a long time. They don't have nightmares no more. They learned that it's okay to be broken and that there are people out there that do care and won't hurt them.
In that moment, when a child is no longer afraid and the wounds begin to heal, is the reason BACA rides.
We call it the payday, when you see that child that's not scared anymore, that is not crying, that's actually sleeping through the night. And that's what makes our hearts sing. That's what makes us do what we do every day.
Oh, it's awesome. It's cloud nine. You know, you leave the courtroom and your bike's not even on the ground. You're just floating in air as you're going home, and it's the most amazing feeling in the world.
In Billings, I'm Asia Gore, MTN News.
All right, so now you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. When you're trained to deal with people who have been abused and have severe trauma, like CSA, like these people are saying, that you're going to keep that trauma hidden, you're not going to talk about it, that's not correct. That is not what you're supposed to be doing. Now, they don't know what they're saying. They don't know better. Or, here's the other thing. They do know better. And I don't know if they do or don't. I don't know these people. I'm not going to vouch for them. I'm not going to say either or because I don't know them. I've never talked to them. And to be honest with you, at this point, I'm not really that concerned about speaking to them because my choices are either they are using you and trying to teach you Frankist belief systems because they are Frankists, or they're in another occult and they're teaching you brainwashed cult tactics. So they don't really have any use for me, and I just want the audience and my community to be aware that these people don't know what they're talking about. They're telling you the exact opposite of what you should be doing to heal. The exact opposite, people. Now, one of the things that came across to me that's very strange, the reason why I noticed this and picked this up immediately, is this idea that you're going to keep this internal, that you're going to try to keep this trauma in and not tell people and keep it secret, and that will make you the true person that you really are. This is coming from the Frankfurts, and this is also something that came from Freud. So this is a psychotherapist. He is well known. You can look him up. He has said a lot of really ridiculous things that we know are not true. He does have some things that are true. They're still taught today. But my point is we know the history of this individual. He is very, very famous in the leftist movement. He is a pro-communist. Communist agenda, Communist Manifesto. He is pro-communism. And he's very popular right now. And some of the things that they teach is absolutely ridiculous. I'll show you some examples. So some of the crazy things he says is that he also suggested that children work through sexual frustration with their opposite sex parents. He said all women have penis envy. He said a lot of other crazy stuff, but what we're really going to focus on is the subject matter that really bothers me is the CSA thing. So that individual, we now know that people that are associated with the Frankish movement have been associated with human trafficking. One of the things that they have done and one of the things that they said is a lot of the Masonic lodges that are associated with the Frankists, they are actually having professionals and they're having people in the industry, they're paying off to say these things that they know are not true. It's really important that you guys pay attention to what's going on in our politics systems and you pay attention to what is happening and what these people are doing. You got to understand, selling children, creating victims is a trillion, multi-trillion, it is the, I believe right now it is almost overtaking the drug cartels. There is so much power and so much money in creating this and doing this, and that's where a lot of this Frankist garbage is coming from. The reason I knew what these people were saying is that these are Masonic Frankist belief systems that this person is saying. Now, I want to be very, very, very clear what I'm saying. He is teaching you a Masonic, satanic ritual belief system that the victim does not talk, the victim does not share what had happened to them, and that's how they become the true person that they're meant to be. They are becoming part of the machine that allows for this industry to do what it does. If you don't think about the cop scenario I gave you, you don't talk about it. Now let's remove the cop scenario and let's talk about just the CSA part of it. You're a victim. You are raped by a family member. In order to heal and be the best person that you are, you're not going to talk about what happened to you. You're going to keep it secret. That person goes to jail or doesn't go to jail or is never reported. You don't do anything because you don't talk about it. How does that help victim number B? It does not. And that's why I showed you that video with the little family and the girl and the biker group. That is not what you do. It is not the correct process. These people are either deceiving you on purpose or they are teaching you a sexual grooming technique by the Frankist, Masonic, satanic cult people. Think about it. Now, what I would suggest that you do with these individuals, look into their history. Let's find out. Are they associated with Masons? That would be the first thing that I would look into. So it's really easy. Frankists, they really love to use Sigmund Freud, Karl Marx, and then Hirschfeld. Hirschfeld is actually the person who started the transgender thing, and he raped the kids that he worked with. My point is, these are the three names that you should be looking for. Understand their ideologies, know when you see them, understand what they are, and then know their history. If you talk about these three people, there's a good chance that your video will be flagged and you'll be removed. They are so protective over these three individuals because they are three of the most important child molesters in our history. They are all child molesters, guys. Learn about them, understand who they are, and you'll know what these people are doing. And when people are using their literature, their belief systems, understand that all three of them are part of the occult. They have actively admitted that they're members of the occult. It's not even like a theory. This is a known fact. So keep it really simple. Karl Marx was a communist, and he was openly a Satanist. This is well known. This is documented. People who knew them, his own father talked about this. People who worked with him, he was very open about this. So Freud is another communist, and he also... Now, when I say communist, I'm talking about he was openly taught communist belief systems. Freud was also associated with child molesters. He was accused of child molestation. Some of the other things about his history that's really interesting is there are many people that were involved with the Frankfurts, which is a group that believes in ritual sexual abuse, and they sleep with their own siblings. They sleep with their own parents. This is part of the Frankfurt belief system. A lot of the Frankfurts were kicked out of Russia. This individual was supported and financed by them, and when he was accused of some of the wrongdoings that he's done, there is so much weird shit about Freud. I really suggest you guys look into his history. So Hirschfeld, so he's the guy who started the transgender. He was the first person to do transgender. They know that he raped the victims that did the transgendering. He did a boy and a girl, twins, and he did an experiment where he was forcing them to see what happened. Both twins committed suicide. They were violently raped by him as part of his experiments. He is a child molester. He's also a Frankist. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. All three of those guys are associated with Masonic lodges. Okay, so this is what I'm telling you guys. This is what I want you guys to understand. When you see stuff and you hear stuff like this telling you not to talk, you should understand where it's coming from, understand what it is, understand the ideologies behind it. Usually it's a Communist Manifesto ideology, if you can recognize it, or it's a Frankfurt. So apply what they're saying to real world, like I did with the police scenario. Does it make sense? If it doesn't, ask yourself why they're telling you to do it. Do they belong to a secret society? The individuals who are giving you this information, are they and do they have any history of running a cult, running some kind of group that is a self-help, or any other kind of secret society like Masons or anything of that nature? If they hit that category, well, then you should step back for a second and double take before you believe anything they say. Now, number 3, Frankism. Are any of the words coming out of their mouth, any of the belief systems they're teaching you, are they Frankism's belief systems? Like, for an example, a victim not talking, make the better self by not speaking, and not becoming a victim by speaking about when you were victimized. This doesn't make any sense. This is non-secular. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now, here's the thing. The last thing, so I would go from what I said and make your way down, and then the last thing is learn about the Communist Manifesto, understand what it is, and then have an understanding of the logic behind communism, and look at the people that are saying the things they're saying. Are they regurgitating communist viewpoints? Now, I know that sounds weird coming from a Jehovah's channel, but for an example, Jehovah's Witnesses have a lot of communist belief systems. And that's something you should be paying attention to. That's not an accident that they've been introduced. So let's backtrack and let's think about what was said and what we learned. So what was said is that in order to heal, we need to be quiet about what happened and what our trauma is. Don't talk about the trauma. Bottle it within. Move on and act like it never happened and become the best person that you can be. Is that appropriate? Is that psychologically correct? We now know, and we just learned, that that is not psychologically correct. That is not the practice that's used. So the question is, if you're being told that this is the correct way to fix yourself, but we know that what you're being told is not correct and does not work, why are they telling you to do it? What is their agenda? I'm going to leave it at that.